Hello. In the last lesson we looked at using a classifier in WEKA J48, and in this lesson we're going to look at another of WEKA's principal features, filters. One of the main messages of this course is that it's really important when you're doing data mining to get close to your data and to think about pre-processing it or filtering it in some way before applying a classifier. So I'm going to start out by using a filter to remove an attribute from the weather data. Let me start up the WEKA Explorer and open the weather data. That's the one. And I'm going to let's remove the humidity attribute. That's attribute number 3. So I can look at filters, just like we chose classifier using this choose button on the classify panel. We choose filters by using the choose button here. And there are a lot of different filters. All filter and multi-filter are ways of combining filters. We've got supervised and unsupervised filters. Supervised filters are ones that use the class value for their operation. They're not so common as unsupervised filters, which don't use the class value. And there's attribute filters and instance filters. We want to remove an attribute, so we're looking for an attribute filter. And there's so many filters in WEKA that you just have to learn to kind of look around and find what you want. So I'm going to look for removing an attribute, and here we go, remove. Now, as before, when we configured the J48 classifier, we clicked here. So I'm going to click here and we can configure the filter. This is a filter that removes a range of attributes from the data set. Well, I can specify a range of attributes here. I just want to remove one. I think it was attribute number 3 we were going to remove. I can invert the selection, remove all the other attributes and leave 3, but I'm just going to leave it like that. Click OK and watch humidity go when we apply the filter. Nothing happens until you apply the filter, and I've just applied it, and here we are, the humidity attribute has been removed. Luckily I can undo the effect of that and put it back by pressing the undo button. So that's how to remove an attribute. Actually, the bad news is there's a much easier way to remove an attribute. You don't need to use a filter at all. If you just want to remove an attribute, you can select it here and click the remove button at the bottom. It does the same job. Sorry about that. But anyway, filters are really useful and can do much more complex things than that. So let's, for example, imagine removing not an attribute, but let's remove all instances where humidity has got the value high. That is, attribute number 3 has got its first value. That's going to remove 7 instances from the data set. There's 14 instances altogether, so we're going to get left with a reduced data set of 7 attributes. Okay, let's look for a filter to do that. Now, we want to remove instances, so it's going to be an instance filter, and I just have to look down here and see if there's anything suitable. How about remove with values? The remove with values filter. I can click that to configure it, and I can click more to see what it does, and here it says it filtered instances according to the value of an attribute, which is exactly what we want. So we're going to set the attribute index. We want the 3rd attribute, humidity, and the first value. We could remove a number of different values. We'll just remove the first value. Now we've configured that. Nothing happens until we apply the filter, and watch what happens when we apply it. We still have the humidity attribute there, but we have 0 elements with high humidity. In fact, the data set has been reduced to only 7 instances. Recall that when you do anything here, you can save the results, so we could save that reduced data set if we want to, but I don't want to do that now. So I'm going to undo this. Okay, we remove the instances where humidity is high.